It is right now. What happens when you have logarithmic functions on both sides of an equation? So that's what we're going to talk about today.
We want to be on YouTube?
I'm just going to put it on my website.
YouTube.
It goes on YouTube, then it goes to my website.
Oh, I'm about to be on YouTube. Hi, y'all.
Okay, can you please? I'm not going to do it if you can't.
My name is Tiana. All right.
Follow me at King J, Roman K1, MQ. What happens when you have
Okay, I want you to write this in your notebook. That's the goal right now. So what happens when you have logarithmic functions on both sides of the equation? So the first thing you want to do,
We got to write that.
yeah, so check to see if the bases are the same.
I was just gonna say, doesn't the base is the same, they cancel out?
That's right.
Yay.
Well, they're not the
So,
same.
well, we're not going to deal with anything like that today, but we are going to deal with them later. Now, well, you're going to see. Actually, it says right there, use the change of base formula. So first you want to check to see if the bases are the same. If they are, we can start working with it. If not, we need to use the change of base formula or some other method, but the change of base formula is going to be what we're going to use in that case. Now, on all the other two tests that I've looked at, you've never had any that I saw that had different bases. But we are going to do something like that.
What is the formula?
We did it a couple weeks ago, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. It's really easy. We did it on the warm-ups a couple weeks ago. We spent part of the class. All right, so here's the basic thing you need to remember for the following equations we're going to do. All right, if you have log base A of B equaling log base A of C, then as Naya said, you can just say B is equal to C. You can drop the logs. So if you have an equation where you have the same base, and then you have B and C, you can say B and C are equal to one another. All right, so write that down.
I did. No, I didn't do that. I did. Oh, I did do that. All right. I got you.
All right, so let's do example 1. Okay, looking at this one, we have the same, we have the same base everywhere. You didn't get number 2?
I ain't getting number 2. You can move down.
So then our homework is really easy then.
Yeah, that was on our homework.
I did it.
I
Yeah.
did x plus 3, like times x plus 3 and foiled it.
Yeah, foiled it out.
And then
And
I
you equal
subtracted,
it to
I subtracted 49 and put it on this side instead of this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. We can condense this on the left-hand side. You have log base 4 of something plus log base 4 of something, so we can condense that. Since it's addition, it's going to be log base 4 of x plus 3 times x plus 3, right? So now we're going to have log base 4 of x plus 3 times x plus 3 equals log base 4 of 49. All right, now you have log, this is basically in the same form. It is in the same form. You have log base 4 of something equals log base 4 of something. So you can now say that the something on the left has to equal the something on the right. You can drop the logs.
Question,
Yes.
if there is a number in front of the log, and then the bases are equal,
That's
what
the
do you do?
exponent.
Oh, it's the exponent.
Yeah, we
So
want to
where would
move
you
that.
put 'Cause
Because
C
if you,
equals to 2 right there.
if there were 2 here,
Yeah, where would
if
you
there were
put
2 here, you'd want to go.
But you have 2 x plus 3 and x plus 3, so.
Right, but if it, so you're saying if there were 2 here? We just put it here.
It's
Oh.
exponent.
And then we
It's
just
the
have
same
x
thing
plus,
as square.
then you'd say log base 4 of x plus 3 squared times x plus 3, if that were the case. All right, now we have this, now we can drop the logs, and we can just say x plus 3 times x plus 3 equals 49. Now, Naya, what do you get when you multiply all this out?
X squared plus 3 squared plus 3 squared plus 9.
Plus 3x, you mean?
Yeah, 3x.
All right, now let's
3
just,
squared.
so you have 3x and 3x, which is going to give us what?
6.
6x, right? Plus
9.
9 equals 49.
Subtract 9. I mean, subtract 4.
And I want to set it equal to 0, so I'd want to subtract 49. And if you subtract 49, subtract 49,
Negative 3.
you end up with x squared plus 6x minus 40 equal to 0. Now, does that factor?
Yes,
Yeah, I got,
it's 4 and 10.
yeah, no, it has to be a negative and, negative 4 and
Negative 4 and positive 10? All right. So we're going to write this as x.
It's negative 10 and positive 4.
Well, you think it's negative 10
Negative 10
positive
plus
4?
4 is, oh,
No,
never mind.
it's gotta be a
Never mind.
positive here. All right.
I see it now.
Later.
Yes,
Okay,
I
now,
do.
what are our answers going to be now? X equals?
4 and negative 10.
So x equals 4, x equals negative 10. Now,
What number
as
is it?
far as the check is concerned,
Number 2?
you're going to want to check a couple things when you're dealing with logs. You cannot take the log of a negative value. So let's go back to the original and check our numbers. What about 4? Is 4 going to be okay?
Oh, it's right here.
4 going to be okay? If I plug in 4 right here? So if I plug in 4 right here,
Negative 1.
that's not going to be a negative number, right? If I plug in 4,
Oh, no.
our answer is 4, right? If I plug in 4 here, same thing. We don't even have an x over here, so that's not going to be affected. So 4 is valid. We haven't checked to see if it's right, but at least it's a valid number. We can take log base 4 of 7. Now, what about negative 10? Can we take log base 4 when x is negative 10? Well, what's going to happen when I plug in negative 10 right here?
It's going to be a negative number.
It's going to be negative. You can't take the log of a negative number. So that means our negative, we need to cancel and say that's not a valid
You
answer.
gotta show it on top.
All right? And we could actually say negative 10 plus 3 equals negative 7, and we don't want that. We could show it like they did on the exam that we looked at. All right, now, in your calculator, we're going to check this out. So, Krishani, you know how to do change of base. You know how to change the base, do logs with different bases other than 10 or the natural log. Can you tell us how to do that?
We had alpha, window,
Alpha window
and 5.
and 5. And look what happens. All right? So what we're going to do is check our answer. So we have log base. Now we think our answer is 4 for x. So we have log base 4 of 4 plus 3. What's that? 7. So do log base 4 of 7 plus log base 4 of 7.
Equals, that's 2.8.
807.
Okay, so we have that now. We need to do the right-hand side. What's log base 4 of 49? It should be the same if we are correct in our answer.
0, 7, 3, 5, 4, 9, 2, 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. So the 7 plus 4 works.
Okay, so 4 is right.
Yeah.
Now, we also could have seen that if we looked here and we didn't even have a calculator, if we have 4 here and 4 here, this is going to be 7, right?
7 times 7 is 49.
Yeah, because remember, when you condense it, you're going to have log base 4 of 7 plus log base 4 of 7. So it's going to be log base 4 of 7 times 7, which is the log base 4 of 49, right? So you really didn't need the calculator to check this particular one, but I wanted to show you how to do that, and we're going to use that.
Like the number inside the parentheses multiplied to equal the number on the outside of the,
Over here? No,
Yeah.
it's not going to be like that.
all right.
All right, so I'm gonna stop that now. Okay, so when we have the 2, we can actually put it right here, right? So now we have log base 8 of x squared equals log base 8 of 8 minus 2x. All right, now we have our log base a of something equals log base a of something, because we have the same bases. Doesn't matter what the base is, as long as they're the same. And now we can say that the something equals the something. That's the only way these sides can equal this side, is if this x squared is equal to 8 minus 2x. That's the only way for those two sides of the equation to be equal. All right, so we have now x squared equals 8 minus 2x. And we have a quadratic here. So we'd like to set this equal to 0. So let's go ahead and set this equal to 0. What's it going to be when we set equal to 0 there? Lewis, what's it going to be?
X squared minus 8 plus 2x. I mean, plus
Okay,
2x.
yeah, let's do plus 2x minus 8. Put it in standard form. Right, can that factor?
I got, 2 and negative 2 and 4.
So negative 2 and 4. All right, so x minus 2 and x plus 4. Those give us 4 and negative 2 give us a negative 8 when we multiply. They add up to a positive 2, right? Okay, those look right. Now we can go ahead. We can just, what's our first solution going to be?
2.
X equals 2. And x equals negative 4. Okay, we need to check these out. All right, let's go back, make sure and go back to the original equation. I made this mistake in my first period class, did not go back to the original. What happens if you plug in 2? Do we get any negative values for what we're logging? What numbers we're logging? So if I plug in 2 here, is that okay?
Yes.
Yep, if I plug in 2 here,
Yes.
8 minus 2 times 2, that's 4, so that's okay. So, so 2's all right. We don't know if that's the answer, but at least it's a valid number we can check. What about negative 4?
No.
No, can't plug that in here. Okay.
That would be
No, no,
positive,
he-
I thought you could move the 2 on
Here's
top.
the problem, here's the problem. If you go and you look at this, when we changed it, you'd say, well, negative 4 times negative 4, that's 16, positive. But I want you to go in the calculator, let's do that. Go in the calculator and put in 2 log base 8 of negative 4. So we're going to do 2 log base 8
It's an error.
of negative 4, says error. Okay, now what about this? What if you just did log base 8? What if you just,
What do you mean we get them? She wrote them tomorrow.
all right, what if you did log base 8 of negative 4 squared? Now you might think that's going to be okay, but actually if you even do that, all right, still not okay. All right, so keep that in mind. You cannot log a negative number. So if you have a negative value that you're trying to log, what's that?
What is 0?
Log base of 0.
No, of something, and then put the 0 in parentheses.
So you're saying log base 8 of 0?
Yeah.
Okay, now I want you to think about it. Let's look at that. That's a good question. Let's just say I have log base anything of 0. Let's just use base 10. What 10 to the what gives me 0?
0.
0.
What is 10 to the, what's anything to the 0 power?
1.
1. So is it possible for you to, well, let's check. I don't think there's anything you can put to give you 0. So let's just check. If I did log base, let's just check log base 10 of 0. What's going to happen? It's an error. Because there's no value you can raise. You can't raise any number to any power to give you 0. All right? Now, you can have, can you do log base 0? I don't know. Let's look to see log base 0. Well, log base 0. Log base 0 could equal 0. Let's look here. I'm kind of curious about that now. So can I do log base 0? Can you do log base 0 of anything? Because if you have 0 what value could I put here?
1.
Well, then you'd be saying 0 to the what gives me 1. Could it be 0 to the 0? Would that be 1? Anything to the 0 power is 1. What do you think, Lewis? Let's try it.
That's Aaron.
Yeah, it says error. Well, what about, so I guess that value,
You gotta carry it
the
out.
moral of that story is that the value, your base has to be above,
Didn't work.
above 0. Let me just try log base 0 of 0. Maybe that'll work. Did that work? Did you try it?
I didn't know that one.
Still didn't work. So we need our base to be above 0. All right, so did we actually even check our answer?
No.
I did in my head.
Okay, so we have, what did we say the answer is? Log base,
It's the,
Oh.
the, no, wait, hold on.
so we want to plug in 2 right here and 2 right here.
Yeah, the 2 part.
So 2 log base 8 of 2. So let's check that. So 2,
0.666666667.
all right, yep, that sounds right for my last class. Equals that.
Remember that one?
Well, it was first period.
Oh. I'll say again.
So log base 8. Log base 8. Did you check it there, Naya?
Yeah,
Is it the same thing?
Yeah. I just put 4.
Yeah, that's that one. I'm just plugging in for X. There we go. There's our answer. So
I was